So I'm making another recording because I need to prepare for the trial. Is the case summary for court connected to 62800. The two brothers have and the lawyer have two criminal cases that were opened by the police forces. Criminal cases that were files that were opened in 2024. Some of the felonies that are cited below are included in those files. First, felony of law against domestic violence. Inheritance law, section 115, asserts the right to reside in the family home. Brothers who try to evict by force and by a law case contradicts this section. Real estate law, 14, 15, 18, self-defense, right to of the ownership, possession, self-defense against eviction, and also what is known as legal limitation period, which has passed, in 3 years. So, the fact that she's living for 20 years in their residency. Penalty law, section 239. This is perjury. Plenty of perjuries were done. First of all, they claim that a person who is a vegetable initiates all kinds of complex legal documents like ongoing power of attorney on himself, mute, paralyzed, and so on, claim that they are needy families where they actually live as oligarchs. What else do they have? Say that the defendant needs a trust because she's wasteful while she, lives very prudently, and later on say that she lives prudently. All this is 3 years in prison. Penalty law 431. A felony according to that, which is awful. It's exploitation of a vulnerable person, forcing a mute, paralyzed mother to sign legal documents, or even, virgin her. Anyway, penalty law 301, which is the most awful, is murder, negligence, murder, aggravated murder, linking mother's death to concealment of financial crimes. Penalty law 486 and 488, which is strict liability. If you're sitting on a document where you're supposed to enlarge and preserve and enlarge the assets, you cannot use it as your petty cash. You can't do that, which, in 2 cases they've done. They extincted her income, 20 years she had income, the deceased had 20 years income from Elat. They, and they gambled in her, money. The psychopath is a gambler for many years. He lost a lot of money with himself. Penalty law 245, there's there's a knowledge about that. Guardianship law 3247, a misuse of the power of attorney. You're supposed to, take care, not, try to liquidate your assets because you need the money from a dying mum, or, make some kind of a trust when you say you have needy families and you need the money. It's not the sense of a trust law. Trust law 158 sections. Okay, so I'm talking about the essence of a trust. You have to work for the beneficiary. You have to work for the purpose of the trust, which is usually preserve and enlarge the money. So there's also 5 till 8, also 7. You don't have bookkeeping. First of all, you said you won't do it. You'll give the money to the beneficiary. She doesn't need a trust. And you're just making another, all kinds of felonies, which also, no bookkeeping, no 152 authorizing, in front of the authorities. It's a very complex thing. You're not IBI. You're not, it's a very tough thing. Taxation is a killer. And you said, under perjury, you said in the court that you won't do it. And the judge herself said that this is a mistake to take the money from me, anyway. Money laundering, 5. Section 3, cash reduction law, 4. We have FATCA, we have CRS, we have banking. These are all banking laws. And the computer law, which also the Israeli bank said, Israeli court said that it's also connected to fraudulent claims to conceal operations, illegal cash withdrawal, gambling in the bank, and transaction splitting, and also paying sabotage, because we have the domestic violence. You paid sabotagers to come and hit her and try to expel her from the home, while you're saying you're working for the benefit of. Very, very crazy. Additional doctrine, strict liability, victim compensation, and no crime without an act. Call claim, the brothers committed perjury, fraud, theft, murder, aggravated murder, medical negligence, exploitation, attempted eviction. They also have the lawyer in it, because he was guiding them. Violating multiple laws while abusing trust and guardianship law. Background. First, the two, they have criminal files, also the lawyer, but I need his ID. In the case regarding, so it's after in case regarding inheritance, the judge claimed that the need for a trust is a mistake. The brothers agreed in the court to enable her to control her estate assets. Despite that, they acted in perjury and tried in 2025 to create a bank account under her name where they have access, while claiming this is a trust and concealing assets. They also concealed assets. They continued. They concealed other assets. Unbelievable. On this background, they claim this is a trust and sued her for eviction. This is the case. So we're going into 115, which is like a holy grail of in inheritance law. For about 2 years, they acted violently with physical attempt to expel her from her home, contrary to the legal application of Section 115 in the inheritance law. Case 851, Goldman versus Goldman. The right to reside under Section 115 is not an ordinary right of inheritance, but rather an independent right intended to protect and continue the existence of the spouse. 663 from 87, Nathan versus Kaminsky. The spouse is not required to pay for the right. It's an automatic legal right that protects the pressure from other heirs. Civil appeal. This is a good one. 1890, Anonymous versus Anonymous, re-emphasizes the supremacy of the right to reside over demands for dissolution of partnership by other heirs. Summary of the case law in case 115, Section 115 of the inheritance law grants the surviving relative an independent right to continue living in the apartment. This is a quasi-property right which overrides the demand to other heirs for the dissolution or partnership of the property. The act against a promise is a felony perjury according to paragraph 239. They claim that the deceased created ongoing power of attorney on herself. You have a neurological report that shows that she was completely off. She dystophon. She wasn't, in the same time. In 2 weeks' time, you have and they stole it from the house. They came. They also said in perjury that she's imagining that they're there. No, they came, and later on they said, oh, she's, doesn't give us use. Which use? Just said in the other claim that I'm imagining that you're coming in. It doesn't make any sense. So, in one of the break-in and entrance, after they sent sabotage, destroyed the sewage and all that, and they paid him in cash from the diamond. So they stole the medical file. Why did they steal the medical file? Because on that background they were also as if she initiated. Crazy. Now we're going into banking stuff. We have expert in metal versus commercial phishing attack resulting in an authorized transfer of $1 million. United States Ivanov, a hacker, Russian, was convicted in hacking. They did it for 2 years with using their application. The younger brother was a banker at the same bank, and then he got fired and started doing fishy stuff. This is the Israeli one. Ezra against versus State of Israel. The Supreme Court interpreted the computer law and ruled that unauthorized penetration of a computer system offense ever if a technical security law has not been breached. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the relief. In essence, I'm out of time.